You're going to settle down. We got to talk about the types of settling down that you're going to have. I mean, some of you settle down with a commitment, and I congratulate you on that. But most people settle down without a commitment. And the women are sitting there wondering, man, are we ever going to do anything with this love? So we're going to talk about it, settling down, what to expect. For those that are living together, LT, and for those that are in or desiring the married life. Let's talk about it right here on the Coach's Corner. Welcome aboard. This is yours truly, Marcus Select. I hope you're sharing this with a friend. I really, really do. It could make the difference in where you're headed in your love life. Bye-bye. Let's just start off by giving some foundational information. Women are more relational than men are. And that's, whether we want to accept it or not as men, that's a whole nother issue. But women are more relational than men are. Men are more achievement based. Sad to say, in some respects. I know guys going to be mad at me. I get some emails. It's okay. I'm used to it. I'm tough skinned. I'm used to rocks being thrown at me, so it doesn't matter. But guys are more materialistic. Guys are more into domain and territory. And girls and ladies and women, I'm talking about the DNA of a woman now. If you're one of those women that's hardcore and all that, I mean, do you? You know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about the makeup, the divine makeup of a woman is relational. The heart and soul of a woman is relationships. You get it? And the heart and soul of a man is accomplishments. Okay, that's why women sometimes and it doesn't slight. Let me just say this: it doesn't slight the woman's accomplishments. Please don't, y'all. Come on, can we come up a little bit intellectually? We're talking about the core preference or the core drive of a woman internally. I'm talking about a mature woman. I'm talking about the woman at her peak now. Not at her peak necessarily maturity, but a woman, if you look at a woman, the core of what she's about is relating to people, whether it be corporations, whether it be children. Come on now, can you bring your mind on up, please? And then the core of a man, when you see a man that's really trying to get himself together, the core of him is going to be, what can I achieve? What can I do? And so when you put the two together, they make great dynamics, possibly for family development. And when you see a guy with his achievement core, he could use that, and many guys have used that for family building. And if you see an old couple that's been married for years, like my parents, I think going on 53 or so 53 or 54 years, it's normally that woman that keeps that relationship in line. And it's normally that man that makes sure that relationship has everything it needs. You get me? Now, she's going to be fussing about some of everything because, she is the relationship driver in a sense, because at the core of her, she's just having in her intuition, her ability to pick up her emotional base is part of that, but her intuition, her psyche, can pick up things. And one of the things that women need to stop doing if you want to get more out of the possibility of settling down, and we'll talk about the LT and the ML in a minute, is stop second guessing yourself, because you were made, you have the fortitude to be able to pick up things before they happen or even while they're happening. But because women have not always been mentored in this and how to discern what they're feeling and what they're sensing, too many times they step into hornet's nest, and because they've ignored the red flags. On my studio door, there's a red bulb, there's a red light that says on air, and so women have that often. I'm on air, and oftentimes they ignore it, and it's to their demise in many cases. But if you find a great relationship, I'm talking about a historic one, I mean, where you've been together for decades, or even for a couple of decades, or 5, 2, 3, 4, 5 decades, you'll see that at the core of it, the man may be, principle based and all that, like my father is, but for the most part, that woman is a relational driver. That don't mean she may know everything about the engine and the exhaust, and I'm just saying the semantics of some things that means she has the power to take it too far or not take it far enough. Keep that in mind. In other words, she can start caring about things that it's time to stop caring about. And she could not care enough or not show enough care about something that she's pretty much tossed in and given up on. So the woman's power of relating is premise in a relationship, in my view. But we want to talk about the benefits of living together versus the married life. Not the benefits, I'm sorry, the expectations as you move to settle down. Now, first of all, let me just say this. Settling down means a lot to different people, but generally it means that you want to stop clubbing, stop running around, stop having multiple partners. Notice I didn't just say boyfriends or girlfriends, because that's about history, just about history right about now with grown folk. And it probably should be, but multiple partners, and stop lying and stop tricking and stop treating, and really get into a girl or boy or man or woman that you're into, and you're getting a little tired of the game. You know the game, you know what's going to come when the game is being played. So I'm just, giving, and because you guys, are going to be commenting, I'm going to expect you to give me some definitions and share your definitions, so we'll be able to up that. But the thing is this: when you settle down and you live together, it's a different type of commitment than when you're married. And I want to put this out there, and I've always wanted to say this right here. There are two types of settling down: one where you're living together, and there's one type of environment. But please, let's stop this nonsense that says, well, when we're living together, it's just like being married. No, it is not. Here's a test. I want you to go to the car lot and get the car of your choice. I want you to sit down with the man and tell him you just want to drive it. Just tell him you want to drive it. Hey, your credit and everything is good, and you got the money for the down payment. Everything is good. But you didn't sign. In fact, I want you to get in the car, take the keys off the table, after the negotiations is done, after you've qualified. I want you to take the keys off the table without signing. I want you to get in the car and tell your little boo, let's go. And tell me whether or not you're not going to have the law after you, even after you qualified, even after you met all the conditions and all of that. You just felt like you didn't want to sign and you just drove off. Well, that's the equivalent to me of living together. It's not that living together is bad. It's just that living together is not the same as being married, because once you sign on a piece of paper, the dynamics of the environment change, and that which is really hidden in the personality and the psychosocial aspect of the person's operation day to day begins to float to the top in a married relationship. That happens somewhat too also when you're living together. I'm talking about folks been living together for years. I've been together for 12 years. Me and him been together 15 years. And I might have some witnesses out there that can testify that when you're living together, pretty much the same pattern goes round and round and round. And for a lot of women, they just give up on challenging that pattern because they do want to move things up a notch or two. I may have some witnesses out there somewhere. But when you're expecting to settle down, you've got to decide, okay, what level of commitment can I get from this man or woman? And what level of commitment am I willing to give? But I'll tell you this, and this may sound a little bit funny right here, but marriage is like a fine wine. Once you drink its commitment, you're drunk with its responsibilities and its expectations. And the real you will begin to surface after you drink the wine of commitment, responsibilities, and expectations. I said the real you will surface when you drink the wine of commitment. And the longer you drink this fine wine, marriage is not a strong drink. Living together is a strong drink. Let me tell you. Living together is a strong drink because you move all your stuff in there based on something sensual, based on something you feel, based on chemistry, whatever you want to call it. You move all your stuff, or he moves all his stuff, and it's just all, but you sense something, but you don't say nothing. Marriage or living together is like a strong drink. You know why? Because any one of you could be out at any time of everything. But marriage is a fine wine, a fine wine, a fine wine. And the more you drink the fine wine of commitment, the more pain you can endure and tolerate, but also the more fruit you could bear. The two go together, by the way. Remember one of the radio casts I said, you can't have just all positive. Negative and positive makes power. Negative and positive makes power. Negative and positive makes productivity. You put the two together. So what to expect from the LT, living together? Listen, don't start feeling all judged and everything if you live with someone, because a lot of people get caught in catch-22s, and I'll do a show on catch-22s one day and tell you how to get out of them and how to stay out of them. Well, we're in catch-22s because we're in the habit of taking shortcuts and we got cut short, and so we're in catch-22s, but there's grace and favor for catch-22s. Don't trip. We're just talking about folks who want more, folks who want to really settle down, folks who tired of the game, folks who tired of messing around. And my time is just about up. Y'all can see that we've extended our time, but on some subjects we'll extend our time, and on the others we'll just keep it simple. But listen, I want to share this with you real quick before I go. On living together, there's a pressure overflow of release, and there's an innocent living together. That's what I call the catch-22. You really wasn't trying to get together for a booty call. You really what you know what I'm saying? It's just circumstance. That's what catch-22 is all about. Circumstance, popping stance, if you will. But I want to leave this thought with you, that when you're living together, too often more than not, there's a pressure overflow release, what I call pour. I'm talking about for folks that are usually being wild. Okay, and even folks who work a lot, wild, working a lot, wild, going out a lot, wild, always in the streets, wild, okay? Wild, W-I-L-D, wild. Okay, let that D be on there, okay? But there's a pressure overflow release. It's like if you take a soda and you shake it up and then you open up the top, all the chemicals and all the reaction. There's too much reactionary love when you're living together. Because, it's like a soup. You don't know what you're eating. You don't know what you're eating. But when you're married, it's more like a life's air release. When you open up that soda without shaking it, you hear the air. And so there's a smoothness about the plan to get married versus the explosive or the reactionary overflow from living together, which is often catch-22s, a lot of times just casual getting together. You know what I'm saying? And so we were just talking about, those who really want to settle down. You're gonna look for a few things. You're gonna look for some emotional trickery going on. My time is almost gone, but listen, let me say this, and maybe I'll talk about it more. Listen, we often will deny what we really deserve for the convenience of the moment. Let me say that again. We often deny what we know and believe we deserve for the convenience of the moment. So the question really is, are you going to be satisfied with the now, or are you going to continue to reach for the aspiration of settling down for real? A commitment with no compromise and no conditions. An emotional balance rather than an emotional challenge every 5 minutes.